So hi all, it is 7 p.m. on December 9th of 2020, which is, I say this every week, crazy that it's so late in the year. I guess in 3 more weeks I'll get to say it's crazy that it's so early in the year. We actually don't have a speaker tonight, so I thought we would take a chance. There's a small enough group right now where we can kind of talk amongst ourselves, but if we get more people in, I might break us into breakout groups. But one of the things that one of the things that came up as a recurring theme during my presentation and when we did the breakout groups was that we wanted to find something hands-on, something local community, some kind of service project that is local rather than an international project that we may be able to do as a club. So tonight I wanted to just kind of start us out with that and see what we can come up with as far as in a brainstorming session, things that we might be able to do. I was looking back at some notes that I had, and I had written down mock Zoom interviews back at the beginning of COVID, right? When people weren't real familiar with how to interact on Zoom. And I had also written down that we could potentially host.
Oh?
That we could potentially, so that's not here. So I wanted to kind of turn it over to you guys and see what other ideas you might have that we may be able to do as a club in a virtual environment, or even if it's something that we try to do all of us in our own local community, where we're getting the word out. But just wanted to open it up, see what everybody thought.
I can tell you that the Rotary Club of the Caribbean does a contest with the local schools every year for short stories. They pick the best stories and they publish a book every year. And you can do that, you can buy it on Amazon.
And what do they send the proceeds to the foundation or something, or to the local club?
They use it for whatever project. So, but I think it's several clubs down there to do it, together.
So they publish a book of short stories from local kids?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a butterfly book. Something like that. It's I think it's a butterfly book. Let me see if I can find it.
Now, Jerry, you had mentioned it more of a fundraising opportunity. You had sent me a thing a while back about doing a virtual 5K.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't forget. I have it marked and I have it flagged in my inbox. I just never followed up with you. But I would love to do something like that where we could all participate in something. But where I struggled with that one was toward what end? Is it just a fellowship thing? Are we doing it as a fundraiser? Jerry's idea was to do it as a fundraiser.
There's a number of people doing that around the country as fundraisers to get more, and there's actually a website or two out there that actually sets it all up for you. So, but I mean, virtually all the races have been virtual this year. I've ran in one already.
One virtual.
Actually, I ran 2 of them. Well, I ran it was a Big Ten race, and normally they get together in Chicago and run it, but they ran it virtual this year. So I ran one of them with one person that's here local, and one with another 4 people that are local here. So, and that's kind of what goes on is some people run them, and when they do is they set them up, and you got to do it between sometime during this week or this set of weeks or whatever. You do it and you report your results, and and we ended up doing it with a couple people here together. We ran locally and then submitted our results type stuff, and you get the swag. So I've got a University of Iowa Big Ten shirt for my race and that sort of thing.
That'd be cool.
So-
I mean, even if we were to do it as just a fellowship thing, right, as an internal, it doesn't necessarily need to be a fundraising opportunity, but
So
it
everybody's
is,
gonna run?
yeah, no. I mean, but what I was gonna say is, so maybe,
I train on 5K and above, so when I run.
well, I mean, I can walk a 5K eventually. But, maybe that's something we could break up into teams and look at how we could break up the club and do that. And if we did it as a fundraiser, that was my, like I said, that was my struggle. Like, what are the funds going toward? Does it makes it easier for people if they see, the funds are going towards XYZ project rather than just going to fund the club, because as it sits right now, we don't have any active projects in the club.
We don't have any projects actively needing money.
Actively needing money, true. Yeah.
By the way, I've got the last invoice. I got to pay it tomorrow, and then that project will be over. And we'll have $55 left to start the next project if we want.
Woohoo.
Or I'll spend that on supplies. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm sure something will come up.
Is that the
Start a
girls
global
buying
grant with that, Jim.
Beg your pardon?
We can start a global grant with that.
$55, you betcha. That's more money
Yeah, we
than the
just paid-
foundation started with. The foundation
is.
started with leftover $17 and I don't know, 23 cents, some odd cents, but $17 and some odd cents. That's how the Rotary
Twenty-
Foundation got started.
$26.50.
Is that what it was?
$26.50.
It was left over from one of the international conventions, so they started the foundation. What are you wearing on your head?
That's my reindeer hat.
It looks like a jester's hat, and I think as a jester's hat, it's somewhat more appropriate.
Well, that could be too.
Do you just have?
Oh,
Is that the
same
one that's
hat,
supposed to go
different
on your
style,
helmet?
same hat.
It is. It's for the helmet.
Yeah,
I just never put it on.
I want to see it on the helmet now. So Chris Jones, thank you for joining us. We were talking about things we may be able to do as a club, either virtually or, dispersed in a geographically dispersed manner, because I've been writing proposals, that would be some kind of a service project. I think the reason I kind of popped into my head was because I was going back through my notes of, things that had come up when we were talking at the president's meeting about Rotary opens doors, or opens opportunities. What opportunities could we open as, it used to be what opportunities could we open as a virtual club, but now everybody's virtual, right? But what might we be able to provide to a community, either locally or to our virtual District 6380 or nationwide community, that would be something different, a value add that nobody else is really providing right now.
I kind of like the idea of like grade schools or who's the one that said something about publishing a book? Was that Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Because we could each do it in our own neighborhood, get short stories from the kids and then put it together.
It's kind of a big project for one person.
It is, but maybe that's something that's one of those things where we could partner with one of the brick and mortars in our community. Like, hey, our
Maybe.
club, our virtual club wants to sponsor this. Would you like to work with us? And then, your club could be these, the recommending club next to the kid's name, the book.
Uh-huh.
What about truly providing a service? What service could,
When we were first forming, prior to actually chartering, one of the RI presidents wanted everybody to plant a tree. I thought that was an awesome project. That's still something that we could do as a club. We could pick a weekend and everybody plant a tree, document it, and then and that type of a project, whatever, planting a tree is still a great thing to do. And we could kind of document that as a club, and set it for a particular weekend coming up and do it, something like that. Anyway.
I do like us having kind of a, with Rotary this year adding environmental, I'm out of English. It's the end of the day. Environmental stuff to their, holy moly, Chris Jones, you got to bail me out here.
Yes, they added the sustainability to their areas of focus. So
That's what I was trying to say. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and trees have a strong connection to Rotary because Paul Harris, when he used to go visit places, would take and plant a tree on his visit. So it's really a key thing for Rotarians to do.
That would actually be kind of a cool thing for us too. And you know, we travel so much as well that maybe it's one of those things that, I like the idea of everybody going out and planting a tree. Maybe, you pull out your Google Maps and tag exactly the location, and then we can put it in a map that is a living thing on our website. This is where the
That's interesting.
Rotarians have built, and then we could see that grow.
So we would change his name from Indian John to Indian Johnny Appleseed.
Yes, exactly.
My home district does a tree planting every year. We put about 300 trees in every year. And it's typically at an elementary school or a park, something. And we do it all in the name of Paul Harris. In fact, Paul Harris came to Charlotte and planted a tree. And we've had several Rotary International presidents come and plant trees at various museums here in Charlotte. And they're all tagged.
That's probably
Now-
something when we get to ride again, that's something we could probably on a ride weekend too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, would this be as a service at a school, at a park, something like that, or would this be at our individual properties?
Probably be a combination of the two. I mean, if we want to look at it as a marketing and community outreach campaign, I'd want it to be more public, but I mean, trees are great. Right? So, so I would say it would be both, John. I think especially if we're going to do something on a ride where it's a group thing where we're all going to ride. Eventually I'll ride with you. We're all going to ride somewhere. And then, part of that ride is planting a tree somewhere. I would think that it should be a public place, somewhere that's visible, and we could put a plaque or tag it.
I have
But-
plenty of trees. I don't need to add any more to my place.
Can we take some trees off of your property, Jerry?
I've actually been thinking about that actually.
I know a guy. So, I would say both, but, with a focus being on the ones that are a little bit more publicly visible. But like I said, if we did both, I think it'd be cool because we have such a large footprint. We have such a widespread footprint, and it looks cool on a map anyway, where our people are. To be able to geotag 50 trees right away would be cool.
Maybe we could take on some of the trees that have had problems, like the ash, or maybe elms, or trees that have been attacked over the time. American chestnut would be amazing, but getting a hold of the tree is harder than heck.
Yeah. So my little brother is actually in the forestry management program at University of Michigan. No, not true. He'll kill me for that. Michigan State. I could definitely touch base with him and see if he's got somebody we could work with, or Bordines. He's worked at Bordines for 15 years, which is a nursery back home. But yeah, I'm happy to reach out.
Bruce is a former Rotarian. I don't know if he's still in it or if he's passed away or not. He's gotten quite old, but he's also a major donor to the Rotary Foundation. He was the original Bruce Bordine.
Well, then that sounds like somebody we could reach out to. He's probably already doing something local, but
I don't know. They host wine tastings for two different Rotary clubs, the Clarkson Rotary Club and the Rochester Rotary Club.
How big do these trees have to be?
And typically you'd go.
I think
separate, right?
I think if we're going to do one on a Rotary ride, we're probably talking about trees that are probably no more than maybe a foot high. I mean, something you can get into a bike without damaging them.
Or we could coordinate with the local nursery and have it donated by the
Yeah.
nursery.
That's true too.
I think that would be, in my mind, that would be a little bit better because that would give us a little bit of amplification of our message, right? So if there's a local nursery who'd be willing to come out, put it on their social media page, we can get some amplification there too.
No, our local town has a tree committee, and basically the tree committee provided trees. The Rotary Club did the manpower to go out and dig the holes and plant them.
Oh no.
We're gonna have to mute Jerry. Are you through the bottle, Jerry? Last glass gets a little sketchy.
That's nice.
I'm having some landscaping done this coming winter. And one of the things I'll be putting in the front yard is a tree. And it's going to be a red oak tree. So I could plant that. And I'm in a brand new neighborhood where there's going to be houses built. So I'm thinking maybe I could plant the tree in the middle of our front yard, which isn't that big, by the way. But anyway, plant the tree and put a plaque on it with Rotary. And as people move in, everybody can ask me, what the hell was that all about? So
And underneath the plaque, it would say, in honor of this tree, a donation to the Rotary Foundation for excess of 6 figures.
only 6.
Only 6. Well, I think I like it. So I like where this is going because actually, so what we could do then is we could also, so taking Jerry's virtual 5K fundraiser as an idea, you know, if we could turn that fundraiser, do a virtual 5K, we will have fellowship because we're all doing it together and laughing at the fact that I run a 5K roughly as fast as an elephant. So we could take that 5K and that opportunity to have the fellowship and then turn it into a fundraising opportunity to fund the trees that we're going to plant throughout the year.
Mandy, you and I could have a race. And that would be a lot of fun.
I can run the first mile pretty quick and then I will just be huffing and puffing, doubled over on the side of the road.
I might make the first one.
Like I said, virtual 5K to me means however you get to 5K, if that's biking, walking, hiking, swimming. Swimming would be rough, but
Riding a motorcycle.
riding a
Actually,
motorcycle does not count, Chris Jones.
I may have an idea about a
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
I'm just spitballing here, but what about you know, I know some Rotaractors who are beginning motorcycle riders. I wonder if there's a lot of them, or if there's a lot of young people in Rotary that are motorcycle riders. Perhaps we could set up some kind of program where we raise money to make sure that those riders, those young riders, are taking safety courses and riding courses to make sure that they're safe. Just an idea.
It's neat.
Keith Lindgren, that's up your alley.
Keith's muted.
I noticed.
While he's doing that, we could actually have a neat day that we all did at the same time, an introduction to motorcycling day, just to introduce young people to, take them out for a ride and answer questions and whatever.
Yeah.
Look towards mentoring as well.
You sure you want me mentoring somebody how to ride a motorcycle?
Bar and it just took
I don't know, I
me
haven't
a
read
while.
Thinking the same thing.
Well, it's because it's something that we're doing in the community here. We're looking at working with young women, and this is kind of in its early stages, granted, but kind of introducing some younger disadvantaged women to motorcycling. So that's why it came to mind.
Keith, do you have a network of trainers nationwide that you could reach out to if we were to do something like that?
Certainly do. I mean, there's, well, the State Motorcycle Safety Administrators Organization, which are from all 50 states, and we get together every year. So we certainly could reach out to them and get something going.
Yeah, I like that idea, David. That's cool. And then, you know, so like I said, I'm all about doing fundraisers, but I want to, for what purpose, right? Like what is the end goal? So, what I wrote down, David, is raising money to provide Rotaract riders with opportunities to get safety training. Opportunities for us being the benefit, the side benefit. And then Keith has a network of trainers nationwide he may be able to reach out to help that.
Great.
Is anybody doing anything for the wounded warriors?
I think that's oversubscribed. We have several in our area that do that. It would not be unique.
The only thing I could say, it wouldn't necessarily be unique to do a fundraising opportunity, John, but maybe if we could do an opportunity for people who are wounded warriors to come out and ride, right? That would be something different. And that may be something Jim Dodmead would be able to help us out with. He looks like he stepped away a bit, but I think with his network,
Yeah.
Baca is, are you sitting on the floor, Jim? I
So
think
my desk is standing, so when I sit down, I look low.
maybe Jim could help us.
Your head.
And that was Glenn. Glenn, what's your last name? I'm sorry, I should know.
Last name is Ingold.
Can you hear me?
Ingold, gotcha.
I think BMW has some kind of a program where they get wounded warriors out and ride on motorcycles.
I think you're right. And it may be that we don't do it specifically with wounded warriors, but maybe we could identify a few smaller local wounded veterans. Agent, God, I'm so out of English. Wounded veterans organizations that we could work with.
I wonder if there's something we could sponsor. So, sponsoring as a club, since we have, the insurance and stuff like that, but we could, maybe we could sponsor some event at our local motorcycle dealers where we're just the event representative or something like that. And they, I don't know, their advantage, of course, is getting people to come in their store, but maybe there's something we could do there and maybe attract them for a donation or something too. I don't know.
What did you have in mind for an event? Like a ride, Jerry, or?
I have no idea, but I was just thinking about, some sort of maybe be a safe location for introductions, or I don't know. It just popped in my head as a way to get our message out to more people at the same time.
Booter and I were talking about something along those lines as well. Like, with some of the other clubs here in Texas, they have big events, making sure that we can set up like a booth for motorcycle Rotarians, and kind of doing that outreach, but then also looking at the dealerships when they host these larger events, would it be a big deal for us to come in and, shake hands, smile a lot, talk to people kind of thing.
For sure. Let's bring it back a little bit to more service opportunities. Since that was really the resounding thing that I took away from my sensing session with the club, is that, part of the reason, a very large part of the reason most of us joined was for the opportunities to give back. So, what have we heard so far? We've got David wanting to raise money for the potential for Rotaract riders to get opportunities to do safety training, which very good. Planting the trees, also like that. And then, as the rest of the clubs eventually, hopefully, are going to be going back to brick and mortar and not be doing online meetings quite as much. What do we have as a club that is unique? Because we're an e-club, because we have a large footprint, because we have a very diverse, very diverse, both geographically and in our membership, having, such a varying number of years in Rotary. What do we provide, or what could we provide?
I've rather enjoyed that we've been able to attract speakers from all over the world in all different directions. even the RI head people too.
Yep. So in being able to attract speakers like that, Jerry, I mean, is that something that we provide as a service to the district, or, you know, where we open it up, much like the many emails we all get from the Troy Rotary Club,
Yeah.
where they're inviting us to.
Troy's actually been doing a good job under this COVID thing of sharing that sort of stuff, but that's something we should be able to do. I mean, early on we had Jennifer Jones as a speaker, and now she's up for becoming RI president. So, and I could reach out to her again too, and you know, that sort of thing. But and you know, advertising that to the district, and on top of that, we've got the advantage of being connected to so many other clubs and districts outside of our district with all of our associate members. We can do some incredible reach out.
You know, our zone's director, Stephanie Urchik, was on the leadership committee that developed the current strategic plan. So it might be neat to have her talk to our club.
Yeah, for sure. All of these ideas, guys, make sure that they're getting to Linda, you know, so that we can start reaching out and trying to work out the details for getting somebody in to be a speaker. And I think I had said it before, you know, we don't need to be tied down to a Wednesday night either, right? If we get an amazing speaker, I'd like everybody to be okay with being a little bit flexible if we have to move it to another night or another time to accommodate. And then, yeah, John, I like the idea with replanting some of the trees taken by wildfires this summer. You know, Colorado, California, the West Coast has been absolutely decimated. I think in those instances, our best bet would be to partner with local wildlife management, you know, and local forestry management in those areas and it would be potentially be more of a fundraising effort than necessarily hands-on. Do we have anybody in the club right now who has connections West Coast, Linda, with forestry or Bureau of Land Management?
I do. So let me reach out to them and see what I can come up with.
Yeah, and John had a good point too, you know, back to newest area of focus. This would be good for us. We're supposed to be on the cutting edge because we're the E-Club. It would be nice if we were on the cutting edge of hitting that new focus as well with environmental philanthropy.
You want just like basic forestry service kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if there's, you know, just so we could, well, it would be, maybe it's an opportunity for us to bring in a speaker and we could float this idea by them as well, right? So if we could bring in a speaker from one of these areas that was hit hard by the forest fires this summer, by the wildfires this summer, maybe we can parlay that into a conversation about how we can help.
Okay, I'm on it.
Thanks, ma'am. All right, keep it going, guys. We're doing good. Let's see. What else we got? Anything else that would be motorcycle centric or rider centric that you can think of? I like that Deb brought up the fact that they're bringing motorcycling to at-risk women who are at risk in her area. We got David who brought up doing the training with the younger riders who are potentially rotoractors. What we got, guys? End of the day, maybe we need to do one of these at noon, huh?
Can't have wine if you do it at noon.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Who says?
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
That's right.
Wine is a breakfast food, ma'am.
My boss would let me,
Nice.
at least when she's not here.
She'd let you when she is there. What about like hosting a networking event or hosting networking events for kids who are about to graduate, either graduate high school and are trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, or graduating college and they need to get into the workforce. I think we've got quite a breadth of professional experience in the club.
That might be a lot of fun.
You know, if we could start, maybe maybe we start with the Rotaractors and Interactors.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Amanda, that maybe one of the things we could do is to actually start a Rotaract motorcycling club.
We talked about that a couple years ago. Didn't go very far.
It's a big undertaking, right? So it would kind of have to be one of those spoke things that we talked about in my meeting with you guys, where everybody in their local area would have to go full Amway. It'd find two people who find two people, but it has to branch out from somebody who can lead it in each area.
So there was a group out there and I emailed them when we first started talking about that and they never did get back to me. No, maybe that was something else. No, never mind. I'm speaking out loud and out of my.
You're not allowed to have online Rotaract Club.
What was that, Jim?
You're not allowed to have an online Rotaract Club.
No, we are, and that's actually
Why not?
That's one of David Yenneral's strategic goals for his next couple of years, is to help us establish a Rotaract club that's associated with our club.
I don't know anything about a ruling that says you can't have a virtual Rotaract club.
Because there are some young people that still ride, so.
For sure. So maybe, you know, to identify, how do we identify those young people who ride, who aren't maybe interested yet in Rotary because they don't know who we are, right? That's, you know, going back to what I was saying about trying to boost our visibility. I like the idea of working with the local dealerships, but I do wonder how many younger riders are buying from a dealership. That might not be our demographic.
We could work with local clubs, motorcycle clubs. Identify people through that.
Yeah.
We have a club here, North Georgia Riders. They're huge. They do a lot of charitable work. We might be able to identify some young riders that could benefit from a stipend for safety training, and also we could maybe find some projects to support through our local club.
Or in conjunction with, right? Or help them identify. Maybe Emilio.
David, Ted Richardson leads that organization. He's a current president of a Rotary Club down in Georgia. Very close friend.
Yeah, he's very good.
Several of us has ridden with him. So yeah, it'd be easy to get going with him.
Yeah, I'm on their Facebook group now, and I plan to ride with them. So yeah, that'll be great.
So from an initiative standpoint from our club, maybe one of our initiatives could be safety, right? Could be motorcycle safety. And we're starting with the youngest riders, where we're providing opportunities for them to get training. We're providing mentoring. I think one of the hardest things to learn is riding in a group, right? So if there's some opportunity for us as a group ride to get friendly to people who are newer to riding.
Starts with buying a motorcycle, Amanda.
Thanks, Jerry.
Love you, dear.
I love you too. So yeah, I mean, just good ideas. I think Emilio should feed us the names of everybody who comes in and gets motorcycle insurance. Okay. We get in trouble for that.
No, am I muted?
Yeah, you're unmuted now.
Oh, okay. Usually my HOG members, I've been telling them about a club, so they are receptive about having a virtual club rather than gathering, but they are not young. Most of the riders that I have in my group, they are in their 60s, and the young crowd, they are not interested.
Because Harleys are expensive.
Virtual. They are.
The way to approach this is a twofold thing. Number one, we can approach all the IFMR members and say, hey, we've got this club going now. We want to do the Rotaract Club, and reach out through all them people first. And then the other thing is we can reach out through the district as well. And the other clubs that we're associated with, and do a reach out and say, hey, look, we're trying to attract young people that have this interest. I bet we'd come up with quite a few names just to get started.
I do too.
I agree.
So is that our first step? I mean, that's so looking. David, since this was your strategic objective for your year, to get the Rotaract Club started, is this something you'd like to run with?
Yes.
Am I persuasive?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I like that. I like how that entire line of thinking went, right? So we've got a potential 5K fundraiser where we have the fellowship. We have an opportunity to raise funds, and those funds can be put toward opportunities for younger riders to get training and safety, and we can offer mentoring. And then David is going to establish a Rotaract Club of riders. I like it. I like how that all went. My job is done here. So then, you know, all good. I mean, that is better than I anticipated was going to come out of this meeting when I threw it together at the last minute, because I forgot that we didn't have a speaker tonight. Do we have any other ideas about ways to support that initiative and help David out, or we could provide other service opportunities for our club members? This one
Just want to point out that Linda's chat that she just put up, that is a motorcycling topic.
Benedictine monks brewing beer is a motorcycling topic.
Well, so I got to give you a little background on that. They're the only one I ever heard of was in Argentina, and they apparently make amazing beer and stuff. Well, in our travels, we came across Monastery of Christ in the desert in New Mexico. And then when I was working on my post, getting that ready, they have a brewery. So this morning I actually ordered 2 6-packs from them because they'll ship it to me. Like Enterprising Monks. But there's also one down in Oregon. There's one in Massachusetts. There's 5 of them, one in Arkansas and one in Indiana, plus the ones around the world.
Hey, so this one that you're talking about, though, we could all order beer from?
Yeah, they'll ship it.
Have it delivered to us before we had them come speak to us?
Maybe.
Like
Yeah.
that?
I like that idea.
That's going to be dependent on your state laws.
Yeah, oh yeah, John lives in Pennsylvania. You're gonna have to come pick it up at my house.
Yeah. Maryland, you can ship. Michigan, I think you can ship.
You can't.
California.
Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah, you can't ship to North Carolina any longer.
You can ship balsamic vinegar and you can ship olive oil, though, just, you know, in case
Get
you're
creative and relabel it.
La la la.
I wouldn't do that. Are you kidding? That's my husband's means of providing for our family.
Just a reminder, we are recording this meeting.
We are recording. Whether or not it gets put up is totally up to Linda.
No,
What's the
look,
word to not?
No, I think that'd be really cool, Linda, for sure.
Okay, I'll see if I can get Brother Barnabas to join us.
Disclosure, our general liability does not cover anything related to liquor. So just keep that in mind.
Well, they really messed that up, didn't they? Have they met up?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. So any other thoughts on either speakers based on what we talked about tonight or potential service opportunities? Hi, Clark.
I can bring a speaker in any time that wants to talk to you guys about Scotch, and he's actually Scottish.
So we got my husband presenting on beer or on wine. Linda's going to get the monks for beer, and Chris is going to bring the Scotch presenter.
January is going to be awesome.
Woo!
We need to invite everybody to come to these meetings in January.
We don't need any other programs, right?
And I am a charter member of the whiskey drinking fellowship that Rotary has.
Isn't it? Is that DRAM? Is that the
That's DRAM, yep.
DRAM? Right?
And the president of such is one of our associate members who will be back with us after the 1st of January.
Yeah,
Yep.
when he gets done doing his training.
I'm gonna check another place. We stopped at a distillery because, you know, I drink a lot, in Kentucky. And I was telling you, there are 11 generations of bootleggers and they're now legit. So I'll see if they'll come and do a program. It was pretty interesting.
What about some motorcycle centric things, guys? What are you guys thinking? Like, what have you come across in your, I was gonna say travels, but I didn't mean that literally travels. Who haven't we had present? What topic are we missing right now? Or who have we had present early on, Jerry, that would be a good person to bring back in, or a good organization to bring back in to present?
It'd be nice if
The
we
electric,
get some
what
of the
about the
man-
electric? Sorry, go ahead, Linda.
No, I was gonna say, it'd be nice if we could get some of the manufacturers, you know, like Harley bailed on us last year.
Well, what about, so I just got an invite, I just got a thing from the local motorcycle dealership about the, is it free? Is that the name of it? The electric bicycle, electric motorcycle?
Zero?
Zero, yeah, sorry, that's what it was. Yeah, I was laughing because when they sent me the email, it said 0 tax rebate. And I was like, that's not what you meant at all.
Oxymoron.
Awareness, there's a $2,500 tax rebate if you buy a zero motorcycle right now.
How much do they cost?
A heck of a lot, but that's up to 2,500 based on the sales price, based on 10% of the sales price, so.
When we chartered, we had Sarah Schilke, who was one of the VPs at SW Motec, or not SW Motec, that's where she's at now, but she was BMW up there in Oregon. I can reach out to her and get her back for a speaker, maybe, and she has contacts to the entire industry. And she was a chartered member of our club there for a while.
Actually, she heard me speak, and that was one of the things that came up because I announced, of course, that I was a motorcycle Rotarian, and she was like, oh, so was I. So maybe you can entice her to come back around.
I'm sorry, what I just heard, Linda, was Deb hasn't done her about me yet. And she just did a really great presentation that she could present to us.
Well, I'm happy to talk. I'll make but you know, sure.
I will.
Did Ron Mead ever do an about me? He's got some incredible background in some of his rides.
I just did my Baja thing, but I'd do something again in a while, but not right away.
Who on this call hasn't done an about me yet? I think there's quite a few actually.
Emilio.
I knew that you were going to call on
This
me.
is public shaming.
I know. I think Amanda had me scheduled already, didn't you?
I think we were trying to get you on the schedule, but I'm not sure we ever settled on a date.
You said January.
I have you in January talking about
Insurance.
motorcycle insurance. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. It's all about me. I'll talk about insurance, and I'll talk about my 11 days on the road to Sturgis and how I was still COVID-free. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
I just
Sounds
need
good.
it.
So Rob, you're up. Mr. Doherty, I don't think you did an all about me. I mean, we know quite a bit about you, but I can fill in the blanks. Be nice.
I
So
can
just-
present a program on Mesa, which is District 6600 in Northwest Ohio, where I was district governor. Mesa is medical equipment and supplies abroad, and that's where we send used but usable medical equipment and other supplies all around the world, but particularly to Central America. So I have a bit of a dated program on that, a PowerPoint. I can present that anytime.
Jerry, do you work with Mesa? Do we work with Mesa for Casa Colibri stuff?
No, this is Northwest Ohio, Northwest District 6600.
We've done some things with a group called World Medical Relief that ships containers all around the world. And I could do a reach out and get them involved into a program as well. They are, different countries have different rules about how you get stuff in, and some of them require you to do your projects by buying all the stuff locally. So it's it's a mixed bag of things, these medical relief things. But it's really cool. I mean, it's a great way to, you get all the stuff for free. It's just the cost of the shipping that gets into it.
How would you guys feel about revisiting the speaker that we had that does the motorcycles for, he was over in the Himalayas. I can't remember, Linda, what was the name of the organization?
The Rangers.
Yeah.
Range something.
Because that would be that'd be a fundraising opportunity too.
In IFMR, we've got a guy that does, I can't think of his name. He's down in Ohio. Chris, you know him too. But he does an annual trip with motorcycles and such into Mongolia. And he'd be probably very interesting as well. I can't think of his name right now.
It just left my mind.
I was supposed to ride with him in Mongolia this year before all this stuff happened, actually.
He's from Columbus. I know who it is too.
Great guy, actually.
Yeah, he is.
I'd like to hear a follow-up from Dieter.
You know, we could probably reach out and get the IFMR president involved too.
Linda, I think it was Rally for Rangers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if we get the follow-up from Dieter, isn't he's back in Argentina still?
Is it? He didn't get it. He didn't get it back home yet.
No, not that we're aware of. I follow him on Facebook and I hadn't seen an update since then.
Has he said when that documentary is going to be put out?
Oh, I didn't read that, but yes, there is the documentary there too. He was working on that. I gotta check on that, and then I'll let you know.
Did you catch, Amanda? I could reach out to Dirk. I can't think of Dirk's last name. He's the current president of IFMR worldwide. He's out of Germany.
That'd be cool. Yeah, have him present. I mean, it might be, what would the presentation be, just specifically on what IFMR is and what they're doing?
Well, he's been doing a rebranding for the entire outside organization and stuff. So I don't know. He might be able to share with us some of the things that are going on with all the different chapters around the world.
Has to be a different time. It would be 1 a.m. his time.
Hey, he's been trying to wake us up at 1 a.m. for these other meetings. We can wake him up.
Right.
And we had the guy from Egypt. He did his at midnight, so he can do it at 1 a.m. Just not as much beer that evening.
I see no problem. Okay. So we got lots of, guys, thank you. We got lots of ideas tonight. I think we've actually got a couple we got an actionable plan as far as I'm concerned with establishing the Rotaract Club for motorcyclists who are younger. And then what leads into that being, and I think even with the providing opportunities for younger riders to get training, they wouldn't necessarily need to be Rotaractors first. That could be a way to entice them to join Rotaract as well, right? Get the word out about Rotary in general. And then our club's strategic push there is to, make sure that we're getting safer riders on the road. And then the tree thing. So Linda, if you could reach out to your contact that you have out west about opportunities that we may be able to help plant trees during the, remediation of the wildfires stuff. And then I will reach out to my brother about ways that we may be able to work with University of not Michigan, work with Michigan State. That other one, the green one that I don't root for.
You are so bad.
I'm so okay. I did in college. You guys know that. I only
after they chickened out playing Ohio State this weekend.
Oh, I know, it's horrible. So I only root for Michigan because my husband roots for Michigan State, just so we're all straight. I'll do that. So I will ask you all to just kind of keep thinking about it. What are some things that we could provide as a club that eventually will become a new format, that not everybody's doing right now. I think we're kind of passe because everybody went virtual, but that's not going to be the case forever. So what can we provide that what opportunities could we provide that other clubs might not be able to? And obviously my email is always open. My phone is always open. If you want to chat, if you want to talk about ideas, Linda would be your point of contact for anybody you want to potentially have come in and speak to us. But
Larry Trippett would also be a good speaker for us. He's going to be the new IFMR North America president come June. It'd be kind of, or July. I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to see what his thoughts are about us.
For sure. Night, Glenn.
Night.
So is everybody with their bikes on the garage already and on the trickle charger?
No, I'm still working on mine.
Why would you want to put it in the garage on a trickle charger?
It's still warm where Keith is.
I bought a third.
I saw that you posted that. I wondered if that was to replace an existing bike or if that was just to augment.
I actually I traded in my 1300 and picked up another. This one's another Stratoliner, and now the funnier part is I haven't been able to ride since the beginning of October. So one of my friends just called me and realized, wait a minute, you bought a bike that you haven't ridden. I'm like, it's fine, don't worry about it.
I've only
So
ridden
there you
mine
go.
5 miles.
The yellow one or the red one?
Red one. Red one.
The yellow one is for sale.
Is it for sale?
Actually, if y'all saw the pictures that Rory's been posting, you know, about the motorcycle pics and stuff like that, a lot of them had the yellow one in, but the last one or the second last one he posted had both the yellow one and the red one side by side. The previous owner was on the ride in Ohio with us.
Funny. Funny. Who's had snow already? John, you've had snow at your house. No, nothing. We had a tiny bit.
Just Jerry.
Sucks. There's more coming maybe this weekend. It sucks.
Yeah, you guys. Well, you're supposed to also be able to see the northern lights up north this weekend.
Snowflakes, that's all.
We had some frost. It was brutal.
Keith, is it still like, balmy down by you, or have you had the cold like we've had?
No, I mean, it's into the high 20, low 30s at night, but it's got up today. It was up to 58, 60 degrees. So it's still decent enough. I've been out riding my Santa cycle quite a bit.
We had that in Indiana today, 58 degrees.
That's a perfect temperature.
We're going to be back up to 60 by Sunday. But I've also got snowflakes in the forecast next week. So next week, we do not have a speaker, correct, Linda?
Correct.
Correct. So I hereby declare that this should be our happy hour next week. And then we will take the following week off because it's Christmas Eve.
Christmas.
Yep. So any objections to that? It's probably something I should have brought up at the board meeting rather than, but here we are. And I already did it.
Are you going to do the same for New Year's Eve?
Probably a good plan.
Oh, beer.
Well,
So
yeah.
how long it takes the beer, Linda, to get to you?
He's sending it FedEx ground from New Mexico, so I'm going to guess 3 days once they ship it.
Okay, so it should be 3 days to me then. I'm going to
I
find
ordered.
out if they can. Would you mind emailing that info where to order from?
Yeah, it's in the chat too.
Oh, okay. I don't have a chat in my computer for some
Yeah, I'll
reason.
email it to you. Or I'll email it in the email I send out with the video link.
Update. Awesome.
Clark, is it cold in Halifax?
No, we're in pretty good shape. We're right on the Atlantic Ocean, so we get the Gulf Stream comes up and holds us pretty medium all year round. So we never have it hot, and we never have it really cold.
Is that not really cold by Canadian standards or by normal standards?
By Canadian normal.
Okay.
I'd say 40% of my friends will not put snow tires on their cars. 10% 5% I argue with about putting studs in their tires because we never have enough ice to really use the studs. So it's pretty okay out here. I'll have to convert for you just a minute. So we're probably running about 58 at the present time here.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Nice and temperate.
Yeah.
My
Not
s-
here in South Carolina. It's cold.
I was gonna say, you guys there was snow in Raleigh last week. So it's been colder down there than, I think Richmond, Virginia had measurable snow
Yeah.
too.
I only have to go probably 50 steps. I'm converting against about 60 miles. I can get snow, but I don't have snow in Halifax. You know.
Yes, Chris Jones, we do need to do elections for the 2021-22 slate of officers, and that is something I wanted to talk about in the meeting tonight about getting the nomination form out. Alrighty, yeah, my sister's up in. I keep joking with her that she moved to the top of the world, but she's in northern Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, right on the Wisconsin border, and she's had 5 feet of snow already this year. It's not still on the ground, but she has had 5 feet.
You're supposed to do the hand thing, right?
Yeah, she lives there.
There you go.
The Upper Peninsula doesn't really look like a hand. I mean, whatever. But, all right, we're closing in on 8 o'clock. We've got a board meeting following this, so I'm gonna pick on whoever's smiling the most right now. Rob, to lead us in the 4-way test to close the meeting.
The 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the
1,
truth?
is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and endear
Better
friendships?
friendships.
4th, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And
5,
5,
will it be
gotta be
fun?
fun.
Next will we get caught.
All right, guys, thank you very much for a very productive meeting. I think we had quite a few really great ideas that came out of this, and some very actionable ones, which is great. So again, I will just ask you if you've got ideas for speakers to make sure that Linda gets them. And I will see y'all next week.
Next week.
See you next week. Alcohol on hand.
Linda, I'm gonna stop recording, yeah, and then restart.
Okay. Yeah, and I've got to jump off.